The more you watch this GIF, the more you realize what else is going on in the background.
There's just a lot.
What can I get for 5 XP?
I feel like I'm honestly the dude holding the. I feel like I'm Seth Rogen in all this.
That's not Seth Rogen. That's what's his name from The
Oh
Office.
God, no, you're right. Shit.
It's okay.
They look
In any
so
case-
alike, especially because of the beards.
Michael.
You're right. Oh God, I know who you're talking about, but I
I
don't
know
remember
his
his name.
character's name is
Dwight. What is his actual name? That was like my brain was like because I have moved off of that. I'm like Michael Scott, he does not what? No. And then I looked at it again. I'm like, oh no, it's Dwight. Dwight Schrute Farms.
Yep.
Yes. All right.
Do you think
Welcome,
that's her-
ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode
Oh
of
wait. Oh, Krat.
Star Wars Vergence. Oh, dear Lord, Thomas. What in the hell fuck is that?
That's what I
But
worked
imagine
on
it's
today.
piss.
That is the look of superiority right there. Whatever she just pulled out,
Smash
that's
Hollow.
superiority right there.
Indeed, it
Smash
is.
Hollow.
I love it.
That is something.
Behold its magnificence. Every time I watch
Alright,
it gets
then.
worse.
That is gonna stare me in the face for the next 20 minutes until we decide to do something about it.
I'm gonna move
I mean,
the
get
video
rid
up.
of it.
Up there.
Yep. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of Star Wars Vergence. Last week, y'all had the opportunity for some of you to spend some XP, and you got a much-deserved mental break. As you escaped from the temple, you discovered that this section of Sith had been working with a bounty hunter who discovered the location of Ilum. A terrifying prospect because if the Sith found out where natural lightsaber crystals would occur, it's possible they could corrupt them. There's a whole bunch of other bullshit that could have happened, but you managed to avoid all of that. Congratulations to you. You had a relatively easy time getting back to the gauntlet, and Ned managed to somehow repair a bit of Biggs' functionality. Biggs is still non-functional in many ways, but now can actually talk and look around, I guess. I don't think you can actually move yet.
Nope. I don't have a body.
Gotcha. A couple of other conversations were had. A connection between Zeta and Naz was forged. Date invited Naz to become his new apprentice. And last but not least, Date had a conversation with his Padawan. And if I remember correctly, we ended the session with you guys landing on Coruscant. Or were we still in the flight there? I forget.
Just for everyone's sanity, I think giving all of us enough time to submit our plans before we land on Coruscant, because essentially, for those who didn't listen or for those who didn't hear, I'm gonna go get arrested when we're done here. So I think whatever plans we need to finalize before we hit Coruscant, because stuff's gonna
I will
happen
give
by
you
the time we
guys-
land.
It was
Time is
nice.
going to pick back up 3 days before you guys hit Coruscant planet side.
Perfect.
You'll have 3 days to cement a plan. And you will have any opportunities for conversations while that is.
So are we still going with the plan of trying to put somebody on the council?
I think we still should.
Alright.
Are we also
But-
in agreement that it's should be Zeta?
I think Zeta's probably our best bet.
Agree.
Agreed.
I agree only for the reason that Krat is probably going to go apeshit when they try to arrest Ned.
They're not going to arrest Ned. They're going to arrest me.
They
No, they're
want to try to
arresting
arrest
both
you
of you.
both.
They're not going to arrest
They're-
Ned.
Yeah, they're trying to arrest both of us, but here's the thing. Ned didn't really technically do anything wrong. He will not be cuffed, but he will go speak with the council. He's fine with being questioned. That's not the issue. The issue is that they're trying to slap me on cuffs unjustly.
Yeah,
You
which
better
I
not
don't
hurt
mind
my
because I
sweet
have a point
Ned.
to make.
Ned does too. But yeah, so the main thing is Date getting arrested. Ned, I feel like there's too much plausible deniability for them to reasonably arrest me.
We're also
They
expecting
might
the
want.
council to act reasonably with us.
That
If
is true,
I
but
may,
we've done
Okay.
nothing wrong. Yes, Cedric.
the word arrest was not bandied about. The words you guys are going to be escorted to the council by temple guardians, which may sound like an arrest, sure, but
Hey,
this isn't
I
the
could have
legal system.
sworn.
You guys aren't facing, like, you aren't being brought toward a court. You're being brought before the council to answer for your actions.
Oh,
This
good.
is not a legal proceeding. The Jedi are not a police force. They do not have authority to arrest. You might have, they are offering you an escort because you have proven that they do not believe they can trust you, but you are not under arrest.
I.
Good thing Zeta will be on the council soon. Then she could get you right out.
My primary concern about this plan is one,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
do not have high presence.
So
real
here's the other
quick.
thing is you guys have 3 days. I'm assuming that in the month before the sacking is when you're going to try and put Zeta on the council.
Well, we're
Yeah,
basically going
not
to do it
Basically,
right now if we can.
yeah, right when it's available to
I'd say,
happen.
I'd say depending on how the first conversation goes, because we
Yeah.
might be
Yeah,
better off waiting like a week if they're a little bit mad. If
Yeah.
they're like actually
Yeah.
super pissed at us, we
They
definitely shouldn't be like, anyways, let's put one of us up there.
they
Yeah,
might be
I'm
they
also,
might be pissed after me and Ned. So
I'm
Right.
also going to posit something. Every time you guys have talked to the council, because you guys are in wartime, a lot of the council isn't there. And I don't know anyone who has influence on a galactic level. Like the force power influence on a galactic level.
I don't need it.
Are you sure?
Don't force
I don't
powers
need it.
work through Holocaust?
It
Negotiation
can,
technique.
but it's one of those things where sure it might be able to work, but you don't know.
so I think the better question right now is I have no problem submitting myself to the council and to whatever punishments. Ned, I understand, is less so. I think the bigger question is is everyone going to try to join us in this hearing thing, or are they going to try to go off and do their own thing?
I think I'd join you. If they're taking both of you, I'd at least be interested.
Yeah.
I go where I'm carried.
What were you for too?
Zeta?
I
We
don't
can
know
force
which would be
area. That's
best.
no problem.
All right. Well, at least we have a game plan for when we get down there. I think we need to see what the council is planning on doing with me and Ned, or more importantly, me, and then we take it from there. But I do hold up both of my lightsabers. I don't want these in the hands of the council at all. And if they plan on locking me in a room, that means they're probably not going to leave me with my sabers. So I'm asking one of you guys to please hold on to these for me, at least until we know what their intentions are.
Who would you give them to?
Whoever wants to hold them until I get them back in my hands.
Pratt doesn't want to touch a lightsaber.
Very well.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I'll take them.
I was going to say if anyone wants to, I can just give you access to my workshop and Twilly can look after them.
No, I will feel safe if Zeta holds on to them.
All right.
All right, I hand them both over to Zeta. I kind of close her hands around the saber hilts. Keep them safe.
Of course.
All right. Let's go hear how we hurt big important people's feelings.
Does everyone think it would be better if I did go with or stayed behind?
I think, well, just for the first council, I don't think the amount really matters. But for the second one, we should definitely all try and convince if we're trying to put
Yeah.
someone on the council.
Yeah, I just mean for this part with Date and Ned.
I don't necessarily think that it's necessary, but if you would like to go, I don't think any of us are going to stop you.
I have 2 points of order I need to take care of before we land.
Go ahead, Ned.
One of which is I would like to put out a call to Twilly just to kind of give her a very short, brief update on what's happening, and just
Okay.
tell her to head down, wait for me to contact you. And I do think she does have like a comm that's tuned to my little antenna thing that I have.
It is, but we've already established that you cannot send communication at light speed. This time?
No. I'm talking about like if they do arrest me, I'll still be able to communicate with her with no problem.
Yes.
I also have 3 conflict from last session.
We need to roll Destiny and we need to roll your conflict, yeah.
Oh no, I'll get it because I've got it.
Do you want my Destiny first, or do you want my conflict?
Let's do the conflict first, because
Damn
that's
it.
gonna be whatever it is.
Sure.
That's fine. I'll add the Destiny point.
Damn it.
Yeah. Yay!
Gain
Yay.
for morality.
No conflict. In fact,
Better boy.
Yeah, I was about to say, depending on how you're playing, you get 4+.
Yep. 4+.
All right,
at
everyone else,
59.
go ahead and roll Destiny.
Yay!
Ah!
Can I roll my astrogation
Thank you,
thing,
Biggs.
Cedric?
Yes.
Yay!
Let's
Thank
get
you,
the,
Zeta.
Yeah, that's about
Let's get the
right.
Destiny out of the way first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
Are we going to get
Okay,
4-4?
5
We'll see.
Destiny points or 5 Destiny rolls.
Yeah, we're
Just missing
bring it
one.
home, Naz.
Sorry, I forgot where my iPad was. I thought it was in my room, but no, it was right in front of my flipping face.
You're good.
Speaking of,
I do that a lot.
Ned, are you continuously repairing Biggs to some form of functionality, or is that just not happening on the ship?
I'm doing it as much as possible, but you have said that I would have to scrap parts of the ship to do it, so I'm not doing that.
Woohoo!
Way to go, Naz.
Nice.
That's a
I love how
lot
the
of
dark side people just rolled the biggest light
So,
side. You
so
should.
to clarify, I'm fixing Biggs as much as I can without use of other like ship parts. I use as much scrap as I can, but none of the ship's parts.
So without using that,
That's ludicrous that I would even try to do that.
let's go ahead and downgrade Biggs' wounds to 25, so they are just barely on the edge of function. Biggs, you can get rid of all of your strain.
I feel like if we had 10 days, that should be like at least 1 wound per day, I would think.
I'm totally fine with that. It's more a question of scavenging parts, and yeah, they can make their wounds 21 out of 26. They're just still
There
going
we
to have
go.
like a bare minimum skeleton.
I would like if I could restore my own vision.
Should I roll for that or?
No. I think it would be easy enough once you have functionality to put in receptors of some variety, or at least reactivate the receptors that were in Big's head originally. So I don't think I don't think that's going to be worth a roll.
All right. So
I'm-
eyes are back on. You're still speaking Rhodian, but at least you can see now.
Yeah.
I'm guessing I can reduce my strain and stress for whatever reason.
Yep.
Cool.
You have 10 days to kind of just chill out.
I don't know why it was sitting at 1-1, but it was.
I think it was probably something to do with the last session.
Yeah, probably.
So,
Okay, we go ahead and land, DM.
As soon as you land, Ned may want to shoot off his message to Twilly.
Yeah,
you get a
basically
Jawa emoji nod in return.
Cool.
As you land, you see that there is a contingent of 4 temple guards walking towards the ship. Nothing untoward about it, just a couple of masked temple guardians walking towards. As the party emerges from the gangplank, they will bow in unison and step to the side. And if you guys choose to walk through their little, there's 2 to either side of you, so if you go through that little, almost like a hallway, they will walk behind you, but they do not stand around you in any sort of like intimidating formation. They're just walking with you for the moment. Troth is going to nod at one of them and say, "All right, I do believe that you might have business before the council, and I think now might be the time to air any grievances you might have, or at least give yourself a chance to explain. I feel like they're going to make sure we get on the right path there, if there are any objections."
None at all. You've done your job well.
Troth looks at one of the temple guardsmen, gives a simple nod of acknowledgement, receives one in return, and he starts leading you towards the general council chamber.
Ain't nothing but a family thing.
Once you guys get to the chamber, the guardsmen stand again, this time almost like a hallway, 2 to each side. Troth knocks on the door and then jerks his head, saying, "I'm not the one they summoned, and if I'm correct, they'll probably only want to talk to 1 or 2 of you, maybe 1 or 2 at a time. But whoever would like to go first?"
Is there any reason we can't all go in at once?
I imagine there probably isn't, but by the same token, that's a lot of people and a lot of shouting to happen.
Nothing that the council isn't already used to. We will go in as a party, as they sent us as a party.
Crack goes, burn.
Troth's eyes darken a little bit as he hears the burn and hears Date. Maybe not disparaging the council, but definitely acting in a manner he's unused to. And he steps aside from the door and allows you to enter.
I walk in first, kind of with my head down a little bit as I first enter, but I look up pretty quickly to see all the lovely faces that want to make me suffer.
Okay.
I make no eye contact to anyone.
I wave.
Are you carrying me?
You have a body, Biggs.
Big, yeah. You have like a battle droid-esque chassis right now. We have to finish making your armor, but you can move on your own.
You have no gun and no armor, but you can move.
Oh, this is. I feel deflated. I
Do you
say
feel naked?
Does Biggs cover private parts that that they don't have?
I don't think. Does
Why?
anyone speak Rhodian?
Nope.
I mean, technically, every Jedi speaks every language.
I mean, they have the ability to. That doesn't mean they actively speak it.
I don't know Rhodian.
No way I know Rhodian.
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah. Technically, Krat doesn't need to speak it because Krat telepathically communicates.
Mm-hmm.
Not with droids, I don't.
I got a
Ned for sure. Ned for sure speaks Rhodian.
Okay. So you might have to act as translator. But for the moment, I feel like once you got more of Big's systems online, Pratt loses the ability to communicate with Biggs as their brain isn't doing the primary processing anymore. You've actually given it over to a central processor.
Yeah.
So for
Damn it.
But
functionality,
for some reason, I'm
Biggs-
still speaking Rhodian.
I mean, there isn't really a chance of Galactic Basic being installed on you right now. You're in so far removed of a like basic operating system that it's all you can do to move and have a chassis. Speaking in any language other than what you remember in your physical brain is probably going to cause some harm right
Enough. Yeah, I feel like at some point Biggs would have at least gone up to Naz and been like, "I apologize for the sorry state that I am in," but you couldn't understand what he was saying, and it was just the sympathetic pats.
Is everyone going into the council chamber?
Oh no!
Yeah.
If I have my own body, then no.
Okay. So who all is going in?
I have no choice.
I'm definitely going.
I'm already in.
Okay.
I'm going.
I'm sorry?
I'm going.
Okay. Naz?
I might as well.
So Biggs,
can't
you're the only
farm, but
outlier.
No, I figured
Sure.
Naz would stay out, but if Naz is going in, that's kind of my primary function is to protect her. So
Alright. So the
Even
entire party steps in. And you are greeted with, for the first time, a council chamber that is dark. There are no internal lights, just the open windows looking out onto the perpetually lit Coruscant skyline. It is difficult to make out, but you do not see the holographic blue glow of council members that are off-site. You can tell that there are people here, but it is difficult unless you want to make a perception check to tell how many and who are there.
I will.
I will too.
I might as well. I'll scan the room.
All right. Biggs, you will suffer with 3 black because your systems are not operating at peak capacity. Everyone else, it's going to be 3 purple and 1 black.
For what? Sorry?
For
You
a
don't know.
perception
For a
check.
perception check.
Ah, okay.
I remove
Three
one
purple
black
and one blue.
per rank of
Shit.
keen-eyed, so I'm gonna take that off.
Fine.
I might as well. You know what?
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to update my character sheet on sessions.
You're fine. So that's a
Oh,
lot of failures.
Okay, so it 3 purple. You said
3 purple, 1 black.
Zeta, you might want to spend a destiny point to get yourself a 1 success. Well,
got it.
Ned's got it.
There we go. I was gonna say
Ned,
I don't
it
really
is
want to
gonna-
use one.
Yeah.
It is going to take a second for your eyes to adjust, and I'm going to take that 1 threat and give you 1 stress for the second of your eyes adjusting. But you see that there is 1 person in the room. There's just 1 person. The 1 person in the room is Titus Andrus, the current Grand Master of the Council. The lights slowly rise, gently illuminating the room, revealing that Titus is all alone. He stands up from his seat and offers a quick bow to all of you.
I
His
bow as
face
well.
is determined without being grim. He just looks as if this is something he has to do, not something he wants to do. As Date bows back to him, he folds his arms in front of him, tucking his fists into his sleeves, and asks, "So you gonna explain what happened?"
Explain once, Grandmaster. Explain what, Grandmaster?
Well, Date, I think you know why you're here.
Quite frankly, I'm wondering why you're here.
I'm not the one who used the force on a shopkeeper.
True.
You want to explain that?
I needed to protect my group that you refused to.
Refused to.
That's right.
You want to explain that line of logic to me?
Before we get started, I wish it to be known that Ned was an unwilling spectator in this crime. I assume all responsibility for what happened. Second, I had every intention of paying the shop owner for the kurtosis that we took, even if it took the rest of my life. I had no intention of actually stealing it, but it was definitely a requirement for what we were about to do. Thirdly, I commend my former apprentice Trough for bringing me back to Coruscant with consent, instead of outright demanding it. I could not be more proud of my former apprentice. Now then, I want to say this next part clear of anger and free of ambition. You know this is a waste of time. Tell me, Grandmaster, is the war going so well that the Council can bother with what was essentially a successful mission, even if we used support and resources that you refused to allocate to us? When we set out, you said this mission was to learn something, knowing full well we were undergeared and possibly heading towards a battlefield. I requested better armor, cortosis, so that we had a better chance to survive. You denied us that ability. So I found some on my own, knowing what could lie ahead. Yes, I stole it and used my power, and I apologize for that. But would I have needed to if you had just provided it with me from the very beginning, knowing it would be essential, proved to be essential, and saved at least 3 lives on this mission, including my own? You blame me for what happened? I blame you. Your blindness to what's going on forced my hand. Either take something vital or put the group in unnecessary danger. The choice was simple. You forced my hand into doing this, and I will not apologize for it.
My God, you like the sound of your own voice.
Some say I have a talent for it.
You also got a talent for bullshit. We didn't know what we were sending you into. We had an inkling. We literally thought we were sending you after a Vergence. We saw a collection of force power. We didn't know you were walking into, and I'm not spending war resources on what I thought was going to be a reconnaissance mission. You want to backtrack that fucking mouth?
No, I won't.
Okay.
If not for the cortosis that I took from that shop owner, 3 of us would have been dead. Are you okay with that outcome for a mission that you didn't have enough information on?
This is war, Date. And I am dealing with more lives than you. Do you think you're so important that I have to care whether or not you live or die?
And with
You
that, you show
are
your
a
hand.
mission. Do you know how much blood I have on my hands, Date? Do you know how many times I have had to cry myself to sleep over so many lives lost? 3 saved is a victory. I will give you that. I'm grateful that you were able to save 3. How many didn't make it back? How many innocents were on that mission? I don't fucking know, Dante. I sent you on a mission. I gave you what I thought was a recon mission. It turned out to be more. And I'm sorry for being, oh, I don't know, human, having a lack of intelligence when I am just given the information. I am not omniscient. I am not omniscient. So go fuck your sanctimonious self-righteousness. Get the fuck out of my sight.
A thank you wouldn't go amiss for saving lives you couldn't.
You're dismissed, Master Shenken.
I walk out of the council chamber. I don't speak to anybody.
Unless we have any reason not to, I would follow.
You're not being held.
Like, I mean, if there's any more conversation about to happen.
Y'all are welcome to do what you want to do. If you got something you want to say, you can say it.
Is Ned free now? Did they?
You were never under any arrest, Brad.
Well, that wasn't Krat as saying that. Well, honestly, it might have been. So is Ned free?
Never wasn't.
Oh, good. I hope you have a lovely day. And I'm gonna walk out.
I just kind of nod at him, like that super shallow chin dip kind of nod, and walk out.
Sliding out, like it wasn't me.
I follow Naz out in what I feel like is the most intimidating way possible, but with my slight demeanor, just
Ultroning it around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very much the puppet with cut strings. All right. So you guys are outside of the council chamber, I assume.
I haven't left. I'm the last one, I assume.
It would appear so, yes, unless Naz and Biggs are staying. But I think
No,
Biggs.
I said I just kind of like it wasn't me. I'm just gonna sneak out this way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I follow.
Once everyone leaves, Ned kind of looks behind him a bit to make sure people have left, and he looks at Titus,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of cocks his head and go, What time of day is it? Did we get here like midday or like what's the
Early
situation?
evening. You guys got here at like the sun just setting on course.
Oh, okay. So I kind of caught my head and go, rough end to the day.
I've had better.
How have things been here in our time away?
I've been pulling all the reserve forces back for, well, I pulled the last of them back this week. We've got a blockade around the mid-rim, and it keeps most of our citizens safe instead of trying to expand into new territory. Been difficult playing peacekeeper between the Galactic Republic and the rest of the Republic.
Hmm. And what should happen if we suddenly got bombarded? Do we have escape routes out of the temple planned?
There's always escape routes. The Council has some of their own, but most Jedi have a bolt hole or two inside the temple. We actually encourage several drills. There'll be one in the next month, detailing evacuation routes.
If I may,
Yeah.
if I may persuade you to expedite that process, just in case.
We can hold an unscheduled drill in the next couple of days. I think I can make the council work on it.
Where are the rest of the members at this present moment?
Orion is in the archives trying to figure out what the Sith are after, because it's so useful at this point. And the rest are off planet. While you were gone, the siege of Christophsis fell. We lost it. The Mandalorians began a harder push, so they went to reinforce the Haven cluster.
Would I know that there's only 4 members on the council at this present moment?
5. Yes, there are 5.
Okay. So there's Titus, the one in the archives, the one in Christophsis, and the one where else?
Okay, so Titus, there's D'Arno, Gara Khazar, Rawl. Oh, right, Vindred died. So yeah, I guess there's only 4 right now.
Ned nods once and goes, "Have you given any thought to promoting another Jedi to the rank of Master so as to help more with the efforts?"
There's been talk, but with 4 of us, it's always a dead heat. We haven't been able to break a deadlock. We can't agree with one candidate.
Might I offer my voice not as a master, but as logical counsel should a tie break out?
The great heroes are.
I can remain entirely neutral, as you know.
Unfortunately, let's think about it like a military. Promotions have been restrained because, say, lack of personnel. We're dying every day. We aren't a warrior culture. We were eventually meant to be religious priests, and now we're fighting a goddamn war. We're not fucking soldiers.
I could not agree more. That is simply why I offer my voice, as not a warrior, nor someone who is highly religious. Again, as you know. Should there come a time when a talk is raised about promoting such an individual, I would just like to offer my counsel. Nothing more. I know every Jedi we have here on some sort of level, and I know most of their merits. This is not a demand, merely an offer, as from one friend to another.
You've actually given me an idea, Ned. And you're right. We could use some new voices on the council. Tell you what, I'll put my idea to the rest of the council, and we will see what happens. I
Very well.
appreciate your counsel, Ned.
Anytime you ask. I turn to leave, and right before I leave, I kind of turn back and I go, "You weren't really upset with Date for spending money. It was more on the principle."
We're not supposed to use the force to get our way, Ned. I didn't care if he billed me. I care that he made someone do something they weren't thinking about doing.
Mm. Funny thing, the force in the wrong hands, or maybe just a mistake.
Can Ned make a perception check for me?
Sure. Difficulty?
Difficulty 2 purple.
Is it an up close perception?
It is actually.
Yay! The blue did nothing.
Blue did nothing. With 2 successes, you know Titus, for all of the talk he just made about not being a soldier, he's been a general for the Jedi Order, essentially, for the past 7 years. Before he rose to the title of Grandmaster, he was actually one of the firmest voices for expansion into Sith space, try and drive the fight to them. When he became Grandmaster, he adopted a much more neutral stance, and you, knowing lightsabers, know that this person is so used to having a lightsaber in their hand that you almost missed it. But Titus is not wearing a lightsaber. Titus is unarmed for the first time that you can remember.
I turn back around a little bit further, and I kind of look him up and down. Where is your companion?
I don't feel much like fighting these days, Ned. It's in my room, and it feels heavier every time I pick it up.
Amen, brother.
You hush.
You never picked it up.
You're not here.
I think I'm out of the room. Yeah, I'm not even there.
We all make mistakes, Master. To dwell on it is to weigh yourself down. I believe it was my old master that taught me much of regret, and it only ever weighed them down. If I may advise, and I kind of tilt my head to the side as like a motion of sarcasm, my counsel to you would be focus on the here and now.
Sound advice in the worst of times and the best. Thank you, Ned.
I turn to go, and for the first time ever, Ned, as he's walking out, just says quietly, but just loud enough for the Grandmaster to hear, and go, "May the force be with you." And then I leave the council chambers.
There is a pause in the camera as it doesn't follow the party, but instead lingers on Titus for just a second, and you just hear, "What the fuck?" And it zooms back to the party.
And now, did y'all wait for me outside, or did y'all just kind of disperse once you left the chambers?
I feel like we found like a conference room, and we would have given you some kind of direction because we're not just standing outside.
I'm standing.
Well,
Ned is.
I am
Or,
absolutely standing.
yeah, Krat is.
So Biggs and Krat are out there.
So I walk out and see the two biggest things I've ever seen in my life. Just hello.
Big droid and big monkey.
Mm-hmm.
How did
There's a
that go?
dick joke in there somewhere.
Bend over.
Hello, Ned. Bend over.
No,
That's wrong. That's wrong.
I don't like it. I'm uncomfy.
uh,
How did that go?
Did you hear what I said in there?
Oh no.
I believe it went good, and I believe I have made the groundwork for our plan to work.
Oh. Wonderful.
But time will tell.
All right. Ned, you finally have access to a full-fledged machine shop with Twilly if you would like to try and fix Biggs. In the meantime, what are you guys doing now that you're back on Coruscant? You are not beholden to any like arrest bullshit. You just have essentially a month to try and plan. And I have some things that are going to happen in that month, but you guys have a month.
So
So-
first things first.
Yeah, but
No,
before that
hold on.
happens, did y'all want to have a conversation just after all that in a conference room, or
I did.
Okay,
I
Well,
is everyone else amenable to that?
I mean,
Sure.
the only reason Biggs was waiting is like, I need you to repair me as quickly as possible.
And I imagine as we're walking, you're doing like a C-3PO kind of walk.
My arms don't bend at the elbow; they're just. This is humiliating.
Interesting that you can feel emotions. How exciting!
It is something I am able to process, and I hate that as well.
We'll have this conversation with the rest of our members, and then we can go back to my shop, and you can meet my apprentice.
Biggs says nothing further.
Wonderful. Yeah, and then me, Krat, and Biggs enter the conference room where Date, Zeta, and Naz are.
Hell yeah.
So as soon as Ned enters, I just kind of look to Ned. You okay?
I kind of look at myself and go, "Yes. Why? Do I look unwell?"
With that bug face, it's almost impossible to tell.
Rude, but fair.
I feel like before we do anything else, I need to ask. Does anybody have issue with anything I said in the chamber?
No, I wanted to say more, but I had to keep my mouth shut.
I feel
And
like
it is
now's
good
the
you
time.
did.
I feel like now's the time to speak freely if you want to, Zeta.
Oh, he's just a self-righteous dick.
To be fair, so am I.
That explains why neither of you would give an inch to each other.
I respect his moral standing. However, I don't see us ever sitting down and having a drink anytime soon.
Do not be so hasty. if ever there was a time that that man drank, it would be in the past couple of months.
Naz, you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I just said I was there for the show.
Fair enough. What about you, Krat? What was your feelings on the conversation?
I feel like much of the other things that the council always says, it was pointless and confused me.
I truly expected us to have some sort of consequence by the time I was done saying my piece.
Perhaps it is that phrase, strike one.
Can I have Date make a, let's call this a knowledge lore check with 1 difficulty?
To be honest, I sincerely doubt they would have locked you up on principle alone.
1 difficulty?
1 difficulty.
Okay.
Looking back on what he said, you are not going to get consequences because he cannot afford to lose a single Jedi. You, as a general, he is looking at all of the assets on the board and he cannot afford to remove you.
But what I'm hearing is anarchy.
I was about to say, some generals would punish besides that, but apparently we're in that tight of a spot. With that, Dante kind of sits back. He kind of puts his puts two fingers to one of the temples on his side. So we are all still here, and we all know what's about to come.
I hand you your lightsabers back.
Hold on to them for a little while longer. Something tells me I'm not done with my trials and tribulations. However,
If I may offer clarity, you are done with your trials and tribulations. I made sure of it. You are clear. Just don't. I would say possibly go easy on the Force for now, but you may be armed once more.
Just keep your head down.
I've never been very good at either. I take my lightsabers back gratefully, and I look to Zeta. Thank you. We all know what's about to happen. We all know it's coming. I understand that we have a plan to get the council out of here, but it's going to take more than just a couple of lucky feet in order for this to be a success. We need reinforcements. Dante kind of looks down, kind of understanding what happened last time. There's no easy way to say this. We need people who are willing to die for this, and that's not a sentence I take lightly.
Could be everyone in this temple.
Mm-hmm.
And how many do you think are? If only the Grand Master was here, there's not many of us left in the temple.
There's a grand total of 2 masters in the temple at current. 2 are off-world. 1 is in the archives.
Is there a way we could have some sort of preservation of the 2 that are off-world, I wonder?
I could offer my potential new consular seat with the Grand Master and keep tabs, or even just ask him where they are and what their movements are, and suggest that they come back in a timely manner for a group discussion.
I'm wondering if it's not better for them to stay away. We need the council to survive, not necessarily the temple.
True enough. However, I will say that the members that are off-world are not in the best of situations.
True as well. Plus, we need a way of preserving all of the information stored here at the temple. Naz.
Yes.
Your time as a... I don't know what the exact term is, so I'm just going to use a word that doesn't mean anything in Star Wars. Your time as the knowledge expert for the Sith. Did you ever have any way of backing up information or storing data in a way that we would not be able to find it?
I dug for information and just more of note taking, if you will, not necessarily backing up data. However, I'm sure I could figure out a way to back up and store some data. Goes and buys all the data pads, all the data spikes you can find.
If we were able to safely back up all of the information in the temple, we could at least lose the library.
That would take so much more time than what we are allowed.
Yeah.
We need
Also-
we need all of the relevant information. All the
Yeah.
information that we need to keep free from the hands of the Sith.
Yeah.
Guys, let's put it this way. If I decided to try and put the Library of Congress on a thumb drive, it would take years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need a big thumb drive.
even if we had multiple going at a time, that's still so big of a task. The archives are huge. But we need to keep
Go
safe.
back thousands of years.
Yeah, what we need to do is we need to make sure that that all crucial information is kept safe, and figure out a way to store the holocrons proper.
If I
Um,
may throw out an idea,
Go ahead, Krat.
perhaps for the invasion, we choose a select few spots that we will protect above all else. While our forces aren't many, we are strong for what we are. If we chose, let's say, 2 points to protect above all else, for in this case the archives and the council chamber, I believe we could do something of the sort. Or perhaps fuck the council chambers and just
Or
go for the archives. If all
Or
of
we just
Coruscant
keep
dies,
everything together.
instead-
We keep the council members and the archives together. Just get them in the archive area and just nobody leaves.
while that is
2
a good
rocks
idea,
with 1 bird.
while that is a good idea on paper, keep in mind the Sith will not only be using themselves; they will be well armed, and also they are sacking the temple. They are not just invading; they are going to be blasting it to pieces.
Oh yes, but even if the entire temple is blasted to pieces, if the 2 places we pick aren't, I think we're fine.
That would mean surviving a siege by the Sith, Krat, and we are not well stocked for that.
Isn't that the whole point we came here?
The point
We
was
came
to
here to make sure that council members survive, and as many survivors as possible.
Yeah.
I have a feeling with the amount of resources that they have and they are coming with, the temple isn't going to last. We can rebuild potentially later. However, the fact remains is we are not well armed for defense of this temple.
The objective is to ensure that the Jedi way continues, Krat. Not that everyone survives, but to ensure that the war doesn't end at the sacking.
That being said, there are many holocrons, to my knowledge, that are in the archive that are not necessarily incriminating. They just hold good stand-up knowledge or theories. We need to remove a few that are extremely important to the Jedi's survival. Everything else can be relearned or recovered.
It'll be difficult to figure out what is essential. We're talking about information that spans the universe.
I mean, we'd want to get things that the Sith don't know. So I think the way that I could be helpful in that kind of weeding through information that I have already learned versus information that I have not, and if it's something I haven't learned, we keep that one safe safe.
Which I still do not feel entirely comfortable with the idea of you being alone doing this.
If you would like to supervise me, you can. But I think
I will
Biggs would
be
probably a better.
I will be far too busy with restoring your companion and ensuring that my own designs are kept safe.
Yeah.
Be there with her.
The truth of the matter
Very
is,
well.
if we're doing everything we can, all of us will be busy, and we honestly will have no choice but to trust her.
I will not.
That also being said,
I can't understand you.
Date, the information does go back thousands of years, but there is no absolute destruction of knowledge. You need to be ready to let go of everything in this temple and keep people alive. As do you, Krat.
Oh, the lives are far more important.
I could not agree more. I think it's time I
And
head
you-
back to my home planet and speak with the chieftain of Godels. I might be able to bring some armed forces here to help defend the temple.
If I
One
may,
moment, if the DM looks at some shit.
I kind of lead motion for Ed to translate for me. If I may, it seems that if you are lacking in strength, then what you need is cunning, perhaps a bit of subterfuge is in order.
Biggs is advising that we use subterfuge.
Does
Okay.
Biggs have a plan?
Decoys.
Would you care to elaborate?
Droids, like myself, are expendable. Should we be able to visually fool anyone into thinking they are attacking the council, we can get the true council out.
So droids with hollow disguises as the council.
Perhaps.
How many training droids do we have at the temple?
I'm gonna ask for everyone to make a knowledge warfare check on that one.
I'm actually good at that one.
Can I substitute with my mechanics check because of how intimately aware of the mechanics in this building I am?
I will allow it on a specific instance, and you're gonna figure out why as soon as I tell you. And ready if you guys succeed.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty's gonna be 2 purple.
Nope.
I mean, I could technically. We'll see how many.
Yeah, that tracks on Krat.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is a training droid?
I have no idea.
I've never spoken
Why
to
would
a
we?
droid.
Why would we deceive them?
Date and Ned. Training droids do not have thoughts. You're dealing with force users. They have the ability to sense at least mental capacity. If you replace the council with training droids, that ain't gonna fucking work.
Yeah, makes sense.
A sound idea in theory. However, we are going up against Sith.
Is there a way we could turn the training droids into legitimate combatants?
We need not make them into combatants, merely turn the settings up to their highest. They will stall.
That's better than nothing. How many do we have?
With my insane roll, do I have an exact number, Cedric?
Yeah, there are training droids, but I'm gonna give it to you also with this and the Triumph. You know what's real easy to pull apart? With move? Droids.
I would think, though, that the combat droids are meant to withstand the Force to some degree. Otherwise, how would we know how to fight proper?
They are meant to
They're
be a
not.
little bit more durable.
They're not really. They're training droids. They're meant to withstand training lightsabers. They're not meant to be pulled apart by the Force. The Force in combat is for sparring matches. That's when you're actually fighting your master or an actual live lightsaber component. Training with droids is to learn the forms. The droids themselves aren't as structurally sound as Biggs would be. They don't fall apart at the drop of a hat, but someone with move could easily make it into a fucking cube.
Well, then we set them up in ambush spots.
Even just cannon fodder is not the worst thing in the planet, but it's not going to be enough.
They're not meant to completely stop. They're just meant to stall and annoy. We're not using this plan as we're not going to use this plan as like an end all say all, but we're going to use this plan because otherwise we have resources that we're not using.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would agree.
yes, certain Sith, because you got to kind of think of it as well as like they have the same rankings and the same power and the same like power levels as the Jedi do. It's like clerics versus warlocks. Like it's like they're both equally powerful, but the low level Sith they are gonna be stalled by the training droids because their thing with the Force probably isn't that strong.
Yeah.
No, obviously, the actual Darths and the powerful ones, yeah, obviously those guys are gonna get through. That they're not the ones we're trying to stop. We're trying to stop the masses, the fleet, the goblins, the orcs. We're trying to stop like the main front, or at least slow them down.
I have an idea for that as well.
Speak, Kret.
If somehow we could convince the council, or just do it ourselves, to get a broadcast out to the entire planet, as much of it as we could, then perhaps we could let the general populace know what is coming their way. And if we do a good enough job, I'm sure we could make quite a few people fight for their homes.
Oh yes, mass panic. Great strategy.
Many would leave, absolutely. But if we are causing just something to hinder the Sith, it is something to keep in mind.
I'm not sure how I feel about getting civilians involved in what is essentially a military conflict.
Only
However,
if they want to, consensually.
However, it is exactly that, a military conflict. We are part of the Republic. We are one of their best chances at gaining ground in this whole situation. I'm sure the Republic has resources to spare, especially when all of the forces are going to be on us, on the home world.
We will need
security
some way.
here.
We will need
the security
some way
here is the tightest than anywhere else in the galaxy.
We will need some way to convince the Republic Military Guard that this will take priority. We will have to convince them somehow that this attack is coming.
Simply tell them.
That won't work. They're too stretched thin as is.
I'm sure we will figure out some sort of compromise or some sort of way to convince them. I am not too worried about the convincing. The time constraint is my main concern.
Well, you need to get started on preparing the training droids that we have here. Naz, I want you to go ahead and start looking at the information in the library.
Okay, I can do that.
Zeta?
I think our priority over the training droids should be Biggs.
Oh, now that I'm back in my workshop, fixing him to completion should not take more than a couple of days, if that.
Okay.
Zeta, how about you and I travel to the Republic High Command and see if we can't convince our friends that there is indeed a threat coming to the Jedi Temple?
Cedric, would I have any history with them in this timeline?
Yes, but not high command. You have friends in the Republic Army, but high command is something different.
Okay, I'll rephrase it.
Friends?
I'll rephrase it. I'm sorry, Julian. You probably have the strongest military record out of all of us. would you know anyone that might be able to listen to us?
Cedric?
You might get people to listen, but remember what government and militaries are bureaucracies. And what do bureaucracies do?
Stall for time.
Move slowly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there any generals or fleet admirals that I would know that I could say, like, hey, keep an eye out the second I send this signal, we need help at the temple?
I mean, the moment the temple's getting attacked, people will start noticing because there will be a general broadcast about it. But
But if I could
you
signal them
could
even faster than that.
make, let's see, let's make a persuasion check with one red and two purple. Zeta personally.
Persuasion?
Yeah.
Cedric, while she's doing that, is my apprentice in the room?
No, Troth has disappeared.
I don't see a persuasion stat. What?
Let's make it negotiation then.
Um, yeah, there really isn't persuasion. It's negotiation,
No.
It would
basically.
probably be negotiation because you're doing this
Oh.
in good faith. You're not trying to coerce something out of somebody. You're not
Yeah.
lying.
That's something that falls under like negotiation,
Could
charm.
I assist her in that regard? I have three.
Are
I
you
have three
talking to the
negotiation.
person, or is this Zeta doing it by herself?
I will help her.
I will be right
That
back.
is
I will be
not what I'm
listening.
asking.
Before I go and before we move further, I have a bunch of personnel resources I can dish out before we finalize who's going where. So
Mhm.
don't make any main choices now because I know a lot of people that can help with these things. So I'll be right back.
Zeta,
So,
I have.
I
Go ahead. Sorry.
am I currently talking to someone to persuade them? Is that what I'm rolling for? I just wanted to know if I know somebody.
Oh, you want to know if you know somebody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would know people, but whether or not they're able to act within the chain of command is up to really the bureaucracy and them. Like, are they willing to break the rules to give you what you want?
Can I think of anybody like that?
You know a couple of Spec Force commandos who might be able to do something outside the chain of command, but it's a small force at best. You wouldn't be able to get anything like cruiser level.
Okay. I I would probably reach out to someone that I knew that had more people under them and tell them, hey, you're going to think I'm crazy, but this is coming. Please get here as fast as you can as soon as you hear something. And then I would reach out to those spec ops people that I
Roll
know.
a d20.
And I wouldn't necessarily say the Sith are going to attack the temple. I'd say more like there's going to be an attack. I've seen it. Leave that vague. Please
Yeah.
just keep your eye open. Eyes and ears open.
You're going to roll.
No,
You do
Geo.
not get a reply.
Oh.
Okay.
Because that is some thin fucking information.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I would reach out to those specific commandos and give them some more
Alright.
details. Be like, hey, there's an attack coming on the temple. Do I know what day this is going to happen?
You have a general. You know what day it's going to happen, but you do not have a specific, like, it happens at 9:18 on December the 21st.
Okay, so I basically say, be close to the temple on this day. We're going to need your help.
That is a negotiation check. And Date is not helping with this one because Date does not know these people.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm back.
However, I could make it
And-
an auto success if anybody needs it. I will remind everybody of that.
We're aware.
Cedric,
Yes.
I know we're not in combat, but could I help it with battle meditation? Because I can help her with 1 successes, and then 2 I can give her more ranks in negotiation if she doesn't have as many as me.
Because it's Zeta making this roll and it's her friends, I'm going to argue no, because you aren't part of this conversation.
But
I would
I'm
imagine
helping her
I'm
with
sending-
the Force.
I'm sending a letter, right? I'm sending
Like a hollow message.
Not, yeah.
But you just
Not
do
even
it
a
so
video,
well.
just an email, essentially.
Yeah.
Help me, Obi-Wan Republic. You're my only hope.
He could use his insight basically into talking to people using the Force to give me pointers on what to say and what not to.
Maybe, but it's crap.
His negotiation is so good.
Yeah, I mean, now his negotiation is great.
Yeah, but it's also crap.
What?
I like that it's so
Telling
high,
them
but
they'll
essentially
get
his
free
answer
hugs?
is but. But what
Tell
if?
them they'll get free hugs if they come here. That's advice.
Look at it from the DM perspective. You are asking the illiterate, telepathic character to
He can
help you
speak.
write a message.
He can speak to her. She can
Yes.
hear him. They can have a conversation while she's writing it down.
Yes, but
You know,
it is not Pratt's friend, so how would he know what's going to persuade them?
Okay, DM has made their decision. I think we're
everyone.
done.
I know.
yeah, you can also argue that Krat has never met the leader of the Galactic Navy because why would he ever have a need to?
Yeah.
I really like your boats.
I
Like
your
I said,
space boat.
DM has made their decision. We're moving on.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Can't her,
Negotiation
help her
check.
out.
1 red and 2 purple.
Can never knock the hustle.
Exactly.
I'm not mad at the hustle. I'm just gonna poke holes in it until I realize that I can't poke anymore.
What do you mean poke holes? Krat just showed you a slice of Swiss cheese and tried to tell you that it was cheddar.
I would have said a fun saying.
Believe in me.
Yeah, that's what she writes
Giving you a
down.
roll for it. You're welcome to make a negotiation check. 1 red and 2 purple.
I would ask if you want Ned's help, but Ned's presence is still a 1.
Yeah, Geo, I'm gonna use that auto success.
All right. I spend a destiny point and have her succeed automatically.
I mean, do you not want to roll before?
No, it has to be done before dice rolls.
Oh, I see.
It's one of those things. If the dice roll, I can't do it.
Can you
Gotcha.
just for my own clarification, can you link me that skill?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not going to argue against the use of it. I just want to read the wording on it specifically.
Yeah,
You make sure you mention hugs, and they really want to do it.
Yeah, I believe it makes you pass with 1 success and nothing.
Yeah,
right? So
it's
literally
one
you...
It's 1 success and no results.
Yeah.
So essentially, what you would have is a communicate going back, which is essentially Joker Squad going dark. And you would know that Joker Squad is a small collection of troopers once per session.
Yeah, no, I can't do it anymore.
Okay,
it's already done.
That's what I was looking at. And I was like,
no, you're good. You're good. I can't do it anymore.
Cedric trying to make sure he doesn't get screwed the entire time.
That would be OP beyond belief. Like, that would be so stupid.
Oh, that would be ridiculous.
That you are going to have Joker Squad in the temple somewhere during the siege of Coruscant. I would argue that they can be there within 3 weeks, and we can roleplay that little shenanigan once we get to it. But in 3 weeks, you're going to have a small squad of Republic commandos to assist the siege.
Cool.
All right. I recall that Ned said they had a bunch of logistical stuff they wanted to deal with. Are there any moves anyone wants to make before we kind of go into month downtime, seeing what the hell y'all can pull to make your fight easier?
I think Krat's still going to try to do their plan of putting someone on the council, or if we put a hold on that because of what Ned has enacted.
I don't
No,
know.
that's still happening.
Okay. I am going to go speak with my home planet about military options, and beyond that,
That is
after
still going to take about a 2-week round trip.
no, I figured.
Okay.
Like I
Please
said,
keep in mind that also on your home planet in this timeline, you are not a senator.
I am fully aware of that. However, I am one of the few masters of the Jedi Order from Godel, so my word still
Sure, that's
carries quite a bit of
some
weight.
political capital, but I don't know if that's going to get you an army.
Well, I don't need an army. I just need a couple squadrons.
Yeah, just a small elite task force at the very least.
Exactly. I don't need an army. I need the Hulk. Like a few Hulks.
You are welcome to try.
That was my goal too.
That's all I'm trying to do is trying to boost the forces that we have here before the battle hits.
I understand. All right. Are there any other steps people want to make? We will deal with Date's going to and from. Is anyone going with Date on his diplomatic mission?
No, I need to be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Date,
I mean, if Krat's not doing anything else, you want to take Krat with you?
Wait.
No, Krat's going to talk to the council. I would ask Troff if he wouldn't mind joining me. I don't know if they've
Roth
ever
is
visited
already
my
off
home.
planet.
Well, great. Thanks, Cedric.
Right, he got redeployed.
I'm glad I got to use
was
his ability
fast.
for like 3 sessions. Thank you.
He will be back before the actual combat.
I'm
your
teasing.
dick.
I'm teasing you, Cedric.
Yeah, you're not. This is not combat session, so you're not going to have your Padawan around all the time.
Unless Krat really wants to go, but I know Krat plans on talking to the council, I don't have a problem going by myself.
All right. So that Date, you're going to have 2 weeks plus whatever downtime you have on the planet of discussing and being alone on Godel. So we'll kind of deal with that as we go. Also, I think Date, you should have enough time that your crit should go away. So if you want to remove that,
My crit is gone. I just need to reset the character on here. I'll take care of that during the next combat session. I will before I leave. I do want to have a conversation with everyone, like essentially at the shipyard.
okay. So
I do want to have a conversation with everyone before I leave.
This is going to be a couple of days as you're kind of like making arrangements and dealing with all of the bureaucratic bullshit, but it shouldn't take long. Let's say 2 to 3 days for you to head out. During which time, I'm assuming everyone else is enacting some of their own plans. Ned is probably fixing Biggs with Twilly. Twilly is super fucking excited to work on a droid that she has never seen before.
Yeah, so I have 8 things on my to-do list, and it can keep growing if I'm left alone for too much longer. So can we all finalize what we're doing?
Yes.
I said, I want to have a conversation before I leave for my home planet.
Okay. So let's go ahead and have that moment, and then we'll tackle the 8-person to-do list.
So I've called everyone to meet me at the shipyard. I would imagine that I'm still dressed in my master robes, except they're a little more ornate, closer to what I was wearing before the time jump. Ah, my compatriots. How's the planning going, everyone?
Well enough.
I've only just begun.
As often is true of you, Ned.
I pull up my data pad with a very long to-do list, and only one thing is checked off, and I go, not like this, and I put it back in my.
Krat, how are you feeling?
I feel wonderful. I do have plans.
I am proud to hear that. Partner, how are your plans coming along?
Yeah, who?
She knows who I'm talking to.
No, she
Oh.
doesn't.
Okay, I'm specifically talking to Naz. I thought she would have picked that up.
Realized that you sent me a personal message a few minutes ago, and I was trying to decipher the meaning.
Oh, for God's sake. It was a joke.
I was so confused.
Oh, for God. Okay, whatever. Not the point. Put that down for later. How are you doing, partner?
I am doing the best that
As
I
can be
am.
expected of anyone.
Happy to have help from Data.
I wanted to let you all know before I leave for my home planet. I don't know when I will return, but I hope to return with at least a couple of my own people who will help defend the council. I wanted to let you all know my intentions during the sacking of Coruscant. I plan to station myself outside the council to ensure that they have enough time to leave the planet successfully. I don't plan to move from that position if I can avoid it. If I need to be at the Jedi Archives, or if you feel like that is the best place for me, then so be it. But I plan on this being my final battlefield, come my life or not. I plan to stand as much as I can until the end. With this knowledge in mind, make any arrangements that you need necessary. But I plan to stand in front of the council door, where no Sith shall enter.
You're always so dramatic. Could this not have been an email?
I think you know that I enjoy my grand speeches at this point, Ned.
Yes, yes. So your plan, just to summarize, is go back to your home planet, see if you can muster some forces, come back, and basically train and wait.
I also know that my former apprentice will be back in time. I've spoken with them as well. Perhaps they will
Wonderful.
have found some forces on their own. I should be back within 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll have a little more time to plan before then.
Very well. Is there anything else?
You may go back to your list, Ned.
Safe travels. Good luck. And I get up and leave.
Is there anything else any of you would need of me before I make travel?
Nope.
Nope.
Fly safe.
I reach out a hand to both Zeta individually, both Zeta and to Naz. Be safe. See the end of this conflict, no matter what it takes. The future needs minds like you two. See this to the end.
Yes, why, of course. I have so many things I need to tell people.
Krat, I did not question whether you were going to see the end of this. I just assumed.
Good. I have so many more business cards to hand out.
Can I take one of those?
Why, yes, actually. I just finished it.
Perfect.
Oh,
I take one, and I go aboard my ship with a smile of, I adore that great white thing. And with
There you go.
that, I am gone for two. And with that, I am gone for 2 weeks, unless I get to the planet and somebody calls me on the planet. With that, I am going to go get dinner.
I love that get involved sounds more like a threat than a like,
It really does.
get
That's
involved.
exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is.
Krat says.
Yeah.
We should put
Get
on
involved.
cookies. We'll make millions.
Krat Harrison says, war is coming. Get
It
involved.
will be here.
It cannot be stopped. Be there or be square.
I will be handing those out to people.
I'm not sure
Like,
how that's going to affect the rolls, but I'm not sure it's going to be positive.
okay, so is everyone done with their prep work? So I can
That's
start my
everybody's
to-do
prep
list?
work.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figure until we go to the council, we're just kind of organizing and finding the most important stuff to copy.
Yeah, the library is huge. It's going to take you this whole time, essentially.
Yeah.
I have stuff to do though before we're actually doing all that nonsense as well.
Of course. I'm just talking about before I get to my long list of to-dos.
Right. I also have a short. It's not that long. Yours is way longer, but I definitely have a list of to do things before we like actually continue on here.
Gotcha. Well, Cedric, it's your call.
Not at
Okay.
this like one meeting though. Like it can be done over.
Oh,
the course
yeah,
of the
yeah,
month.
yeah. God, no.
All right, Javen, hit me.
Okay. So first things first, I want to role play introducing Twilly and Biggs. There's a couple of things I want to make sure that happen there.
Okay. That will be an interesting interaction. So
So how soon did Date do that little sit down talk? Like how much time had passed since we had left the council chambers?
probably would have been about 2 to 3 days for the you
Okay,
guys.
okay, so this would have happened before that happened because it would have been like that same day of, all right, I'm gonna start making a list. Biggs, you
Yeah.
come with me. So me and Naked Biggs are walking towards my workshop,
Naked Biggs.
and I as we're walking there, I put in a request for whatever hanger hands we have to go ahead and start unloading Biggs's armor and bringing it to my workshop.
It will be there by the time you arrive. It will not be in good condition, but it will be there.
Obviously not. He had 31 wound, for Christ's sake. Of course, it's going to be terrible.
But yes,
but yeah.
time you get there, by the time you get there, you notice that the workshop is slightly more of a mess than usual. Tools are semi-strewn about as if people were haphazardly knocking things over, trying to get a fuckload of armor into any usable space that they could find in your nest. Granted, it is much cleaner now than it was, but it looks very haphazard at the moment.
And also, I would have had Twilly go grab the singular crate that I have left that is full of cortosis. I believe I have 2 uses left.
You do.
So I am going to tell her the exact shape and size of this box. Tell her not to look inside, but to make sure that she transports that one personally. Because it is very important that stays intact and usable. So at that point, I see the last like deckhand or the last acolyte leave my workshop, look into it, and get very mildly annoyed at the haphazardness of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least it's in here.
Yes. Twilly is nowhere to be found for the moment. But if you would like to start working on Biggs, you have pieces of their armor. You also have access to your full workshop.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and start booting up all of my computers. I'm gonna just tell Biggs to sit down on like a big old workbench that I have for the bigger projects.
Mm-hmm.
I start plugging him in. I start I start running diagnostics, getting him prepped for surgery, essentially.
It takes about 20 minutes before you hear a loud thud on your door.
I open it.
You are greeted by Twilly inside her new mount, because you've been gone for a minute.
How big
And
is this mount?
it's a Rancor, a baby Rancor-sized piece of machinery that she's inside like a goddamn mech.
Were you talking like a diva from Overwatch type size?
Yep. And in the very middle of it is a very tiny Jawa who goes, Master Ned, hi, Master Ned. Good to see.
She signs that, I'm assuming.
Yes.
From the inside, I just kind of cock my head, nod, do a very small like saluted greeting, and motion for her to squeeze in.
It takes some doing, but she does get the large mechanical beast through, and you see actually parts of it. She's using parts of her lightsaber pike as the um
She's
as
using
part
it
of the control scheme.
as the main like joystick to
Yes.
move it around.
Mm-hmm. And she
Jesus.
signs to you. Is that Biggs?
I nod. Biggs, what do you think of this big monstrosity?
First things like as it bursts through the door is like scan as threat, does not seem to initiate combat, so not threat, but still large being potential.
Oh no, it pings your threat sensors because this thing is riddled with tiny weapons.
Oh boy. Biggs is feeling very naked right now and is wishing that they could get this on so I can have my weapons back. Ah!
It's a tiny Jawa with a tank.
Yeah, so like as this thing comes in, Biggs is like stands up, goes to like activate his gun. Gun doesn't come out. This what is this?
Is it like when you're sitting on the doctor's office bed and like a really hot nurse comes in and you're just in a gown and you're like, ah, oh god.
Just does not know how to function right now.
I sign back, yes, this is Biggs. Put that container next to him and hop out so you can properly go through these diagnostics with me. I have a big project for you.
So she does. You see, held in the arms of the Rancor is the crate, which is still the crate is probably about as big as Twilly is.
Yeah, it's not
and
huge.
But she is not huge either.
Yeah, exactly.
So she moves it, sets it down, and you watch as she like backs up to a power conduit and just plugs the large monstrosity into it, and you watch as a kind of like cage opens up from the middle, and she force leaps out, and you just hear pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, as she runs up to Biggs and just looks up.
Biggs, like physically, you cannot tell that Biggs is nervous, but like Biggs is just literally standing there because his mechanical body does not like show the same emotion, like expressions as a normal human. But it's like there's just he's just standing there watching as this thing approaches and gets down right in front of him and is like, the fuck?
Twilly is going to look and sign. Wonder what this one's going to be like when we fix it.
I sign back. If done right, a lot shinier and a lot more dangerous. I lead her over to the crate and I open it up and show her.
She is like visibly trembling with excitement as she has very rarely gotten to work with Cortosis and is very excited for all of this.
I shut the crate back. If she doesn't know what it is, I briefly explain it to her, and I tell her, "You will be in charge of making repairs on Biggs. You have all the information you need on this pad here. You have his measurements and specifications on this screen here. I made the diagnostics myself. Do not go into this file, which is the file that is the records of Biggs's brain, Biggs having a brain. But I've made sure to everything spec wise that does not involve Biggs's brain, that doesn't need my touch to it. I fully trust Twilly to take care of.
Yes.
Because obviously, like, she built this extreme mech, which, by the way, after I explained that to her, I asked for the rundown on the specs of her new mech, and I just kind of sit there pondering and looking at this thing.
So, she is gonna look at the diagnostic that you give her and rattle off the specs of her mech. It is essentially, it has similar specs to an actual like baby Rancor. It gives her essentially a brawn of 6 and allows her to use her lightsaber pike more effectively because it's a little tall for her. But she has like a charging jump. It has stun guns loaded into it and a full blaster bolt in the mouth. Suffice to say that people fighting it would not expect this out of a tiny Jawa Jedi, but it is also just regular steel. It can be dismantled rather easily. There are some like contact points of armor that might explode on contact, like Odo's armor would, and drive away a lightsaber. But on the whole, it is a construct. It is not a Cortosis thing. It is easily destroyed when you when if Twilly weren't in it, it would be much more easy to destroy. But if she's in it and using her lightsaber pike with it, it is a thing to be terrified of.
I rest a hand on her shoulder, and if I had tear ducts, I would wipe a tear from my eye. But I just put a hand on Twilly's shoulder, and I just do a very basic like, "Good job,"
Yeah.
which I rarely say to her.
You can feel her smile as she signs thank you and very quickly begins rebuilding Biggs. Biggs, you see plates of yourself being reattached with uncanny accuracy, and you feel things again as she starts rewiring your circuitry, and you are effectively repaired fully in the next day or so. So, we will treat this as you recovering all of your wound. Javen will attempt cortosis on you when they feel ready. But in the meantime, Biggs, you are no longer speaking Rhodian, and you are fully functional again.
So while that is happening with Twilly, I take a crate of tools, and obviously I use my lightsaber as my main data pad. And I go, while you work on this, should you need me, I will be in the sparring room of the temple.
Twilly kind of cocks her head at you like, you're not, and literally just signs, that's new.
I motion with the tools and I go, not to fight. That would be silly. And I turn and walk away. I turn
Just
and walk
gives
out.
you the, like, raises her fist and gives like a nod symbol, and just continues going back to work on Biggs.
So the next, okay, so that's the first thing on my list. The second thing on my list is to start upgrading the training droids. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I couldn't imagine it would take too long. It's probably just a passive thing. Like I make sure I try and upgrade like one a day.
What type of upgrade are you looking at?
I want to install. I want to create and install a like a guerrilla tactic protocol.
Oh,
Um,
that'll literally take a day, and you could network all of them. So if you, I mean, you can also physically upgrade them if you would like, but yeah, just upgrading their processing and their heuristics is going to take about a day.
think of it this way. Without knowing it, Ned is creating the first ever commando droids, BX
Yeah.
commando droids.
Yep, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Because
so
then we don't, because then we don't even need to give them lightsabers. We just need to give them vibro blades.
Yeah, I mean, vibro blades will be pretty common. They're pretty much looted after every fight with Sith. So, yeah, go ahead and make a computer check. Because you're doing all of them at once, I'm going to say it's a 4 purple difficulty, but I think you should be able to handle that.
I mean, you'd think so.
We'll see.
Can I add a blue for home turf?
Add 2 blue for home turf, and if you would like Twilly's help.
Twilly, I want her full attention on the project that I gave her.
Okay, and just 1 blue.
Cool. I'll take it.
1 threat is going to be another stress, but this is going to be over a month, so strain is going to be negligible for this session. So yeah, it's easy enough for you to like strain your brain, and you pull together a cadre, let's say 20 training commando droids.
20, damn, cool.
There's a lot of people training at any given time, and there's a lot of youngling classes. So,
this can actually tie into what I'm doing. As I go in with this idea in mind, I contact whoever I need to have everyone vacate the training grounds as I go to work on these droids. I make it under the guise of I'm just doing maintenance on them. I want to use this time to make use of the sparring room's PA system and start playing Led Zeppelin as I go to work. Ned Zeppelin, as this band is known. And as I do this, I want to multitask and make a call if I can, so that way I can tackle 2 birds with 1 stone on my to-do list.
Yeah. You are able to split your focus pretty effectively. Who are you calling?
I am going to contact Balaz if they are alive in this timeline.
DM is going to make a roll. I will make this in front of the board. You want a number higher than 15.
No.
Oof.
Oof.
How long ago did they die?
I'm going to say with a 1, you call them, and the fact that they don't pick up is your answer.
At that point, I would contact again one of the council members and ask them what the time and date of Balaz's death was or is.
With that, I think that you would actually have been one of the first to know, as he was involved in, I think, defending the Hapen cluster with some of the Jedi Masters. So it's not going well.
What is the Haven cluster?
So the Hapen cluster is a small group of planets near the Empress Teta system. It's very close to the inner rim. So let's Hapen cluster, if I remember correctly. Where the fuck is Hapes? Should be in the inner rim. God damn it! I know this place exists. Stop hiding.
Because if I know what planets they are, I can try and convince the council
Okay, it is. So if you're looking at the grid, why does it not have fucking numbers? Oh, it's 09 in the grid on this galaxy map.
09. All right.
Near Kashyyyk, like a jump away from Kashyyyk. So.
Okay. Let me
So it's a
zoom
ways,
in here.
like a good. It's about the same distance as it's about a week away by hyperspace, maybe a little less, because it took about 10 days for local. Yeah, maybe about 5 days hyperspace journey.
You said it was O. You said it was O what?
09.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's that group of planets. There's a huge string of them.
Okay. So yeah, we can't really withdraw from there right now.
Yeah.
Was it long ago, would you say, or was this fairly recent?
You are literally figuring it out. With a nat 1, you are the one giving the news by proxy because you kind of are the person who's telling everyone.
Gotcha. And I imagine whoever was there with him would be confirming my suspicions.
That's correct.
All right, cool. So I would say make sure you recover his lightsaber at the very least, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very specifically designed thing that I would very much like back, and so I can repurpose it.
I would say even on a nat 1, his lightsaber is not gone, and you still have your connection to all of your little friends. It's there. It's not like the one that went dark and is currently screaming in your head. It is still in the hands of Jedi.
Gotcha. All right. Well, as long as I know that's secure, and as long as I know it can make its way back here, that's fine.
Yeah.
Since that, well, I mean, yeah, that would basically take care of that day, is the commando droids and the contacting and figuring out information, multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing on the list is I would like to contact Jannar, who I know is canonically alive in this timeline.
Yes. Jannar would actually be where you were originally in Firebase Echo on time.
All right, I need to make a note that T-Vok is en route. Route. All right. I would reach out to him and just basically tell him, like, if you wanna role play it, fine. If not, we can just talk a little bit. Basically, I'm gonna call and tell him that he needs to trust me, and in the matter of about, I would say he needs to be back. He needs to put himself back at the temple within about 3.5 weeks, and that he
He
needs to
agrees.
trust me.
He agrees with you. States that he's been encountering some very odd force bubbles on Tython. You might recall something about what those might be.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll say, as soon as I wrap that up, I will be back, and I will see you then.
Very good. Did we ever establish who has my double-bladed lightsaber?
I believe you decided it might be. Let's look at Javen's lightsabers. Junpar, I think you might have, in this timeline, given it to Jules.
So I think Potentially. Jules, what are the specs in your current lightsaber?
Like the qualities
Yeah.
or the damage or what?
Well, yeah. So, do you have any attachments on it?
Just my crystal.
Okay. Cedric, if I may give it at least just one free modification, or perhaps a second.
Let's give it one free modification.
Okay. It was just gonna be something small. I would. I feel like Jules has her original lightsaber that I kind of helped modify. But I would go to her probably after Date had left.
Mm-hmm.
I would go into my workshop, go into a secret compartment, and pull out Junpar, who has been sitting there for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
I made it specially for Zeta in mind, and I need to look at the modifications. But I had two in I had two in mind, mainly because they're not extreme in any capacity. Let me look for the specifics. Mods.
Lost you there,
I-
Javen. You went quiet.
Huh?
So I was worried we lost you there, Javen. You went quiet for a second.
No,
Oh.
I heard.
I heard him.
Yeah, we were here.
Okay, must have been
That's,
on my end.
I heard him the entire time.
You're
Yeah.
good. I must have gotten lost then because my internet must have cut out for a second.
Gotcha. I would like to give it the superior hilt personalization, which just gives it the superior quality.
Mm-hmm.
Or I was going to give it, I think it was the, yeah, or I was going to give it the reflex grip, or both, which just means that she can suffer one additional strain when using parry and reflect to make it count as one rank higher.
Oh.
Pick one.
To
What
I
does
would-
superior do?
I believe it gives you one extra. I think it gives you one advantage when making any checks with the lightsaber. But let me double check. Item qualities. 3. Superior quality. A superior item is a sterling example of its kind, representing masterful craftsmanship. A superior weapon generates automatic 1 advantage on all checks related to its use, and its base damage is increased by 1.
Oh.
So the other one would be, the reflex grip. Either way, it is to the hilt itself, and it was made with Zeta specifically in mind. So with that, I think I would give her the superior because it is a Vorosh exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume Zeta would probably be in the temple or in the archive.
Mhm.
Biggs is up and around and moving, so that's fine. Twilly's doing what Twilly does. I go in, take out a very kind of big enough to hold the hilt, kind of like case. I would make my way to the archive, and I would go up to Zeta and say, "Hello, Zeta. How goes the extraction?"
Hello. I think pretty well so far.
Wonderful. If I may have a word,
Sure.
and I take her to a little bit more of a secluded space. And I set down the case on the bench, and I take a step back.
What's this?
A gift for the coming days. I made this a couple of cycles ago.
I open it up.
And it is basically the exact same size and shape of your lightsaber hilt. It currently has the midsection kind of popped open for you to allow you to just easily put your crystal in there. But it's very intricately designed, and when you pick it up, it is perfectly balanced on both ends with a gyroscopic kind of balance toward the middle. It has a very uniquely designed kind of what design do you think would befit Zeta?
Well, I've got a design. So maybe similar, just a little bit more intricate, like carving on the hilt or something like that on the handles or
I would say
handles.
it's a intricate mix of Ned's very angular design with the kind of fluidity that Zeta has on hers. So a very kind of starking contrast between the two, and
Sounds cool.
that's what you see before you.
Wow, thank you.
This is known as Junpar.
Sorry, dog had something.
Mm-hmm.
I very much appreciate it.
You should find it a suitable upgrade to your hilt. I use the exact same materials that we used to craft yours, along with my own personal touch.
How do you spell that?
JUN apostrophe PAR.
Ooh. It looks gorgeous. I pick it up and like swing it around, but not igniting it.
As you swing it around, it is perfectly balanced, and you realize that like as you swing it, it goes almost like anticipating your own movements,
Mm-hmm.
indicating the superiority of the hilt.
It feels amazing.
You'll find it is perfectly balanced and will hit harder and faster. It was made specifically with your fighting style in mind.
Thank you very much.
Of course. If you'd like to give me your old hilt, I can make good use of the parts.
Yeah, also, could you maybe move the crystal over for me? I have bad luck with these things.
I grab her hilt. I twist it in a very specific manner that kind of like separates the two sides.
Yes.
Unscrew the pommel and kind of just like go through that whole process, like gingerly pulling it out and just like kind of plopping it in the middle of the other one.
Thank you.
Of course. And then I close the little thing, seal it, and kind of do a little twist of the saber myself and hold it out for her.
Mm-hmm.
I take it. And can you send me that attachment when you get the chance?
It's very simple. I can do that right now. Give me one sec.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
All
right.
are we going to keep going with my to-do list?
I mean, I think that's probably the easiest thing to do right now, unless anyone else wants to interrupt.
Well, the only thing I have is after I actually finish getting fixed.
Okay. You would be fixed. If Javen wants to handle the cortosis at any point, that's up to him, but you would be fixed within 2 days.
I can go ahead and make the roll. That way there's a record of it.
Cool. I'm gonna try and remember how difficult I made it. Pretty sure it was just a 3 purple roll on any of them.
Can I add 2 blue, one for Holm, and one for Twilly helping me, because I do want to do this with her.
That's correct. So if you are
That
using Twill, you get a blue, and for home advantage, you get a blue.
All right. So that's 2 blue. My mechanics check against 3 purple.
Yep.
All right. I don't even need the force. I got this. Oh wait, actually, I did that roll wrong.
Yeah.
I will add the dice. I will add the dice that I need to add to it.
Well, do that. Hang on, I didn't see a roll, so okay. There we go. Yeah, that's easy enough. Cortosis is added to Biggs.
Alright.
But that'll happen like a week or two from now. When Ned is finished with his other projects. He wants to have a moment with Biggs before he does so.
Yes. So to give everyone else a chance, Biggs, what are you up to?
Well, after I come out of the shop, there's the update.
Why do you have a codpiece?
Nice.
Because that's how the pants came.
To protect the goods.
Or
Phrasing.
protection.
I was walking around
Must
naked
look
for so
imposing in
long.
every way.
Does this mean that Biggs canonically had like genitals out the entire combat or something?
It's
Fuck
you
no.
don't have any bits. It's just the brain. The brain is like subconsciously placing a sub protocol into his mechanical brain. It's like,
brain is stored in the balls.
I was about to-
um,
We took the Robin Williams joke a little too literally.
Well, I guess I know what target I'm aiming for.
No,
hey,
it's so
you gotta buy
protected.
Big's dinner first.
Yeah. So you can go ahead and add Cortosis, but I want to have a conversation with Biggs before I do that.
I mean, we can do the conversation now, and then I can go do my conversation I wanted to do.
Okay. So at some point, I would send Twilly away for like a couple minutes on some nothing errand. Just have like a little conversation alone with Biggs. I would pull up a chair, scoot forward, as Biggs is still plugged in, but now fully armored, and whole again. I would inspect you up and down and go, so how did my Padawan do?
Your Padawan performed admirably, and like the whole time he's speaking, he's doing that thing where he's looking at his arms, just rotating things, checking functions, and just like stretching out his body, just testing it a little bit as much as he can while plugged in, and like yeah.
Wonderful. I am happy to hear it. So, I have made a choice, and I will give you the Cortosis. On one condition.
Understandable.
I'm going to tweak your combat protocols.
In what way?
To give you a range. So you are not on or off, but you are scale of 1 through 10.
I see.
That way you can conserve ammo, conserve energy. As opposed to blowing anything in front of you to smithereens with the same amount of force. It is a waste on your part.
I would have to agree now.
as well as giving you a threat level analysis. Not a everything is a threat, but the level of threat that it could present.
This would serve me well, as I have come to the conclusion that tactics are much more suited for this situation than blowing shit up.
Oh, don't get me wrong. If we point you at something that does need to be blown up, you are the first thing we turn to.
Noted.
In order to change these protocols, however, I'm going to need access rights from you personally. Now that we know of your condition.
Hmm. And Biggs does take a moment to just like think over everything. He may just kind of see a little bit of movements that's like they're more fluid. Like he actually has like better like motor control with certain parts of his limbs. They're not just like I am robot, I move in. It's more like he's actually a functional being. But he's starting to like silently emote better, if that makes sense. And
He's about as emotive as Ned is.
yeah, pretty much.
But there's not a whole lot we can do, but we do our best.
There's no facial expressions, but you get the body expressions.
Which
That means
honestly,
basically, like half the party can't make facial expressions.
which honestly, the fact that your joints and stuff are looser is probably because of Twilly.
Yeah, there's definitely that's something because that's how I'm like flavoring Biggs's like the XP that Biggs spent on himself was just all the upgrades that because definitely there were points in time when Twilly was working on Biggs where just Biggs had some sort of little inputs of like, could you give me more mobility or possibly bigger and just small little suggestions and requests. But he's thinking it over and having worked alongside you for I don't know, like I think in game time outside of travel, like only a couple days. Because most times when in travel, Biggs has been either broken down or shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's based on
Has Biggs ever had a memory wipe?
several times.
Okay.
In fact, a recent one.
Oh.
Granted, not a huge. Cedric, it wasn't a huge memory wipe, was it? It was just like we're just kind of reprogramming you because you're.
Wipe.
What?
It was a targeted wipe. It did not actively destroy all of your memories. It just parsed through part of your programming and was like, oh, this is not necessary. Delete.
Yeah, which I feel like that kind of led to the 0 or 100 situation. Those little bugs that it's like, look, this was kind of preventing that. But yeah, there was a targeted memory wipe recently. But yeah, given everything that's been happening, yeah, I think there's no reason not to. Is Big's logic? How Big's logics it out?
To give me permission.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. With that, I don't think there was anything else I need to do with Biggs aside from upgrade his cortosis. But essentially, like, yeah, I do like give him the protocol, and also, I do it semi discreetly, but I put I still have that one thing in place, Cedric. I don't
Yes.
take that away. But I do give Biggs a range of threat levels and power, like like firearm levels. So he's not just small Jawa causing issues, rotary cannon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will make it a fine paste.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so gave you cortosis, upgraded your processors, and made you just a way better robot.
Yeah.
Cool. That takes care of that. I have two things left on my list, and it's essentially just keeping in contact with the Grandmaster and the Master in the Archives, and just kind of trying to sow the seeds of inviting a new council member, or promoting one amongst their ranks to master, offering like giving them the logical reason as to it, so as to not have to use persuasion, because I'm not trying to persuade them. I'm giving them the facts. I'm laying it out. This is what's happening. You guys are stretched thin. You need to start giving more authority to more Jedi, because there are few of us, and we need to be able to make more decisions. That being said, Huh?
So let's see what kind of role that would be.
Anything is better than my negotiation or charm or anything like that. I could do warfare. I could do streetwise. I could
Like
do
Get a streetwise check.
streetwise works.
3 purple.
All right. Any more additives that I can make?
This isn't your home, like, this isn't mechanics, so I can't really give you like a home turf advantage.
Yeah, God no. This is persuading people, something that Ned is brand new to doing.
Yeah, let's just have it all up and see how it plays out.
All right.
Nice. Nice.
just yeah, you do it. Yeah, sure.
You get them to listen to you. They seem interested in what you have to say and are actively going to petition the council to see what they can do about raising more members.
Wonderful. And as the weeks, this is like an overarching thing of me just like contacting me, like, hey, how's things on Christophsis? How's things in the Haven system?
The Haven Club, yeah.
Yeah. Just like checking in, actually being present, which honestly might strike the council as a little new and odd. But Ned gives off the vibe of this is very urgent. We need a conclusion.
Yeah.
And I also make sure I'm gonna go ahead and erase this 2 strain. And I make sure that our core group, every update I get, I'm letting them know. I'm letting them know what's going on.
No worries.
And with that, I will mute myself because I've been talking for about 45 minutes. So I will mute myself and let everyone else take over.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to try something?
I'm willing to wait. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just had that conversation that I wanted to do after I got fixed.
Cool.
I feel like I had that huge dialogue at the beginning, so I say Naz and Zeta take over for a little bit.
Naz is indisposed.
Okay, I say Zeta or Krat take over for a little bit.
Well, I was going to talk with Zeta.
Go ahead. I like I said, I'm off planet at this point.
Sorry, what was that, Biggs?
Well, I wanted to have a conversation. There will be a moment in time when you're not with Naz, that after he has been fixed, that he would find you, or approach you at least.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like a graceful approach. It's like comes very close and probably looks a little intimidating, and then just says, "If I may have a word."
I cross my arms, look up at you with an eyebrow cocked, and go, sure.
Biggs kind of looks around for a place to sit down, approaches this bench maybe, and then just sits as carefully as he can without breaking things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
then
sorry. Right, I'm back.
and then just motions for Zeta to have a seat as well.
I sit down. And I'm very confused.
You are one of the most competent of our group outside of myself when it comes to combat. I have a small request, if I may.
I can't guarantee, but what's up?
Being destroyed as I was in the temple and discovering the capabilities of myself, I there are things I do not know about myself that I do not think I wish to know. But should that happen again,
You getting destroyed?
yes, I would have a request of you.
Okay.
I have seen that you and Naz have not become close, but you are probably the closest person she has gotten to outside of myself in a long time. And I would request that should I no longer be able to function, that you ensure her survival.
I will do my best.
Obviously, the outcome of me surviving is most ideal, but
Of course.
certain factors cannot be controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would consider Naz a friend. And I will do my best to keep her alive, just like all of my other friends.
This is good to hear. And if I may make an observation, would might be something she wouldn't mind hearing as well.
I will keep that in mind.
And with that, Biggs just like no facial expression, just looks back up, stands up, looks back down at you, looks away, and starts heading out, I guess, away or something.
All
All
right.
right.
Easy enough conversation. Look, they tried to make a friend. Krat, do you want to do anything about your plan to put people on the council?
Yeah, we can.
Krat,
That's gonna
what
be something.
are you planning on doing for that?
Well, I think that'll be something that I want most, if not everyone, with me at the time. I don't know if mechanically that affects anything, but I do think that Krat would just want like support from everyone, like just like help him in his conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think because I have two things that I actually want to do, and then I have two like little silly things, and I think I can do a silly thing real quick. Is Krat would approach Zeta at some point before we go to the council, and just say, "Excuse me, Zeta. I couldn't help but overhear that you were getting some you were getting some mercenaries to come and help."
Well, I don't know about mercenaries per se, but muscle.
Ah, okay. Might not to be offensive, but might I ask what they are?
In what way?
Well, where do they come from? You see, I want to get sweaters made, and I want to make sure they fit.
Um, Zeta is trying not to laugh. Um, I
I didn't like how you thought I couldn't help convince them to come and help.
didn't think that.
I
The Force thought that.
didn't like how Cedric thought that. So I want to make them sweaters to convince them that I am, to help you understand, I'm very convincing.
Yeah. Um, they're big guys. They're spec ops guys.
Big
Um,
sweaters. Got it.
yeah.
And I'll just walk
Think
out.
kind of like Odo.
You got it. Yep, I'm just gonna order large sweaters, just
Oh my
in
god.
mass. To just say like
Okay.
Krat loves you or something. Um, actually, no, they're gonna say Joker Squad because that's what the squad was.
Uh-huh.
I think you
Sure.
only
Yeah.
need like 5 or so.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's only going to be about 5, and I don't know if they'll wear them, but thank you.
Yeah, well, I just want them to get them and know that they're appreciated. And then also, um, I think that this is gonna sound counterproductive at first, but I think that Krat is because with a lot of the other stuff that we're doing right now, I like Krat can't really help. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
unless it's the convincing, like he can't help build the robots, he can't help bolster the forces. So I would imagine that like while the group all gets their little things that they're off running and doing, Krat doesn't really have anything to like work towards other than to just like talk to the force in a way.
Yeah.
Um, and so he realized as he's just like just sitting, maybe like goes on walks and stuff, he'd be looking out over at the sky and seeing all these ships fly. And
Mm-hmm.
and then Krat remembers in hopefully in his uh first timeline that droid crash, that like ship crash that happened. And
Yeah.
Krat was like, if I could, because a lot of stuff like that is going to be happening, while the sacking of Coruscant is going on. So Krat wants to at first start to learn how ships work, right? Which is going to absolutely hit a brick wall immediately.
Okay.
Like, but he goes and he's like, oh, well, if I could see how they work, maybe I could like stop this from happening. And then he realizes after hitting this brick wall, oh, duh, idiot me, they run on the force. And then, so this is going to be my flavoring of Krat upgrading move all the way to Silhouette 4. Krat wants to try and lift a ship because a small ship, any ship could be in a junkyard, anything like
Yep.
that. But like while he's wandering around, he's like, "Oh, the ship's just running the force. I can do that."
Yep. And as Krat is wandering around Coruscant, randomly trying to lift things,
No,
he
no, I
does
find something that's not owned. Like,
he does get to a junkyard and does lift a starfighter, essentially.
yeah, nice.
And immediately gets harassed by an R2 unit who just beeps and whistles at him because he's not supposed to be there and he's not supposed to play with its toys.
Do I have a little badge to show, like a
No.
Jedi badge? All right. Well, I do hand him. Uh the classic business card, of like the professional Jedi. So I'm like, it's okay. I can be here.
So just for context, I have been going through silhouettes. Out of every single one of the starfighters, there is only one that is silhouette 5. He can move every single starfighter possible.
Yeah, he can move up to. I think he can actually move Zeta's ship.
Oh,
Lovely.
handedly.
Yeah. And with the agility, whatever this means on this level of scale, with as well as I can move my own hands. So it's like fine manipulation of ships. So we'll get to that later. But I think that Crash just like, oh yeah, ships run on the Force, duh. And he just finds one and just like lifts it up and is like, well yeah, that proves my theory. And then just doesn't lift one again until the sacking of Coruscant. As long as he
Valid.
knows he can do it, he's just like, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Gotcha. So I can just, catch ships out of the sky. I don't know if I can actually do that, but that's what he thinks.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Krat is doing that. You've upgraded your move. Do you want to do anything to petition support for the council, or do you want to let someone else have the floor for a second?
I think that all Krat has to say about that will happen when we're actually convincing them, because I don't think he would have the forethought to like ease them into the concept. Um, but I think what's basically happening is that for the first time in a while, Krat is feeling like Krat is just alone.
Mm-hmm.
So he's spending a lot more time meditating than he spends a lot of time meditating, but like that's all he's doing now. And
Yeah.
because of the crazy ass battle that we just had like a few sessions ago, he witnessed violence on a scale he hasn't experienced in a while. So he's
Mm-hmm.
just like, he's talking to the Force, and he realizes that like, oh, if I want if I'm gonna achieve what I want with just like getting out of this war with no uh with no violence, I'm just gonna need to crank up my negotiation, crank up my words. Like I'm just gonna have to be able to talk my way out of anything. And so that's
Okay.
like where the other XP thing comes, of just like putting it all into like negotiation stuff. Because like Krat wants to think that he could, even if he were to get face to face with the Sith, that he could like convince them to leave the planet. But
Okay.
all of that's in his own head, that's absolutely delusions of grandeur. But he's just sitting and meditating and talking to the Force.
Let's have Krat make a force roll.
All right.
Okay.
I could work with that.
In one of your meditation sessions, you expand your mind a little bit, and as you reach out, your mind casts through the universe, and you find yourself in on Mortis once more. But it's not the like chaotically shifting hellscape that it once was. You find yourself in a clearing surrounded by life, trees that are growing, small animals going throughout the brush. There are predators occasionally. You'll hear like a cry of a falcon or something. And in this clearing, you see a small, green-haired female child. Her eyes closed as well as she sits in a similar meditative posture to you.
Oh, hello.
Hello there.
Do I know who this is? Or does Crowd have no idea?
I don't think Krat remembers this child, but yeah, you've
Probably
seen this
not.
child before.
Okay, maybe it's like I have a vague thing, but like everyone looks similar. So, hello. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Krat?
Well, I'm about to be doing better.
I certainly hope so. I'm glad that you've decided to choose nonviolence. It makes me very excited to see what you do.
Well, good. Violence never solves anything.
I
It
do
all
try and
just
tell
falls
my
into a
brother that,
cycle.
but he always tries to win by fighting.
Have you tried? Is there anything around me that I can pick up with the force, like a rock or?
There's lots of things you could pick up. What would you like to try?
I mean, just the tiny little rock. I'm just trying to make a point.
Yeah.
I'll just pick up like a tiny little rock and be like, "Have you tried doing this?"
Oh, yes, but then he does the same thing and it eventually ends up in a fight no matter what I do.
Ah, that's how my life has been as well. I have been very active against it. However, it seems unavoidable at times.
Yes. Fighting is sometimes necessary, but it's never something you should look for.
No, and I have learned to protect myself and others, which is good.
It
I
is.
have grown from my understanding of violence should never happen, therefore it can't happen, and now I see it as it's happening again.
Hellcat, I look forward to seeing how you stop violence.
Hopefully I can forever.
In that moment, the clearing darkens just a little bit with that statement, and you see she shivers a little bit, almost as if she catches cold, and says, well, that is a story for another time. I'll send you back on your way, but it was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, whoever you are.
She giggles a little bit, and without waving her hand, without any semblance, you just open your eyes and you're back on Coruscant, where you were meditating.
Well, time to go lift a ship. No, I'll just stand up and walk away. Like to walk away from my meditation circle.
Perfect. All right. Zeta, I think you are still copying things with Naz.
Yeah, and we did we do combat training at some point in there too.
Gio, do you want to have a little bit on your home planet before you head there? And then Ed wants to do one more thing, and then we'll get back to the laundry list that is Javen.
I am honestly okay with waiting. I know that I ate up a lot at the beginning of the session, so I didn't really have anything planned. Honestly, I just kind of made this part up afterwards because I legit thought I was going to be confined to a closet. So I'm honestly good to wait for as long as you need me to.
Okay.
I don't have any like real stress on making it to my home planet or anything. I literally made that up. I have no idea what I'm doing.
No worries. So okay. Ed, what do you want to try and acquire?
A fancy new weapon that I tried acquiring when I first made the character.
How much money do you have?
None.
Then no.
Well, this is the thing. It was like I would go to see if there would be any way that I would be able to have someone
Would
get me one.
2,000 money be enough?
Okay. How and why?
What are you looking for?
I tried acquiring a missile launcher when I first started making the character. And I feel like this would at least be better for what we're going to possibly be up against.
Would you like 2,030 credits?
know if that would cover it.
I mean, if I send me a link to what you're looking for and then look at the price of it, because I think I remember exactly what you're looking at, and it ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
Are
So,
you
like,
are you looking at the
2,000
missile tube?
credits?
I think so. Yeah.
Takes gunnery.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
and if I recall correctly, that thing is quite the pretty penny. Like I said, I wanted a grenade launcher and I didn't even get that, and that was like 6,000 credits or something.
So
Yep.
2,060 credits.
Cedric, can I pull a big dick move and pay for this dude's weapon?
How much is it, first off? Because I don't have it in front of me. I'm genuinely looking at it, trying to find out what it is.
I believe I'm looking at what you're looking at, but if Ed can give us the
I'm
You
trying
can
to
also
find
post it in the chat or anything like that. The website.
I'm trying to find it.
Missile tube. 7,500 credits.
Better than I
Okay.
was expecting.
Yeah, it was lower than I was expecting.
Here's the compromise. You want Biggs to roll me a streetwise check, 3 purple, to see if you can even find one of the damn things.
Is there anyone that would be able to help me with this?
Or is anyone going with Biggs?
I feel like the first person he would approach is
Ned?
The one
Ned,
time, the one time I'm needed to help find shit and I'm off planet.
You are.
very true.
I give you like a Pringles can. Is this it?
That is a tube. That is
that is
correct.
just
You've just finished eating all the Pringles out of it, and you just hand it to him. A tube.
Rat eating Pringles is the worst thing I've ever imagined. I don't want to think about
That
it.
is.
You suck it up like a vacuum.
Yeah, sure. It process goes around the tube.
Flump.
Sucks it in. Anyways, does this help?
no.
Oh, just eats the can.
Oh,
Biggs
that's
is not
worse than
phased
watching
by
eat
this.
Pringles.
Biggs was just being straightforward and just no, it does not work. All right, that is sufficient. All right.
Of course, lets me digest this.
The cardboard of this cylinder gives me good fiber.
I can live on the living force.
You are welcome to try.
I love how you're
Alright,
making crunching noises for a being that does not have teeth.
It's
Yep.
a muscular proboscis, okay?
Oh, ew.
That's worse. Okay, streetwise check with blues from Ned.
How many?
1.
1. Okay, I'm going to spend a destiny point to upgrade. Ha!
No.
Damn. I can't even spend another destiny to make it a
That is correct.
Now, could I litigate that Biggs takes 3 strain or perhaps upgrade difficulty, and because it was 0 successes, didn't succeed, didn't fail, could they maybe do a reroll?
You know what? No, because we already argued that someone was helping them, so there are multiple people involved in this. You guys went out and you just didn't find a missile tube. You could
Fair
find
enough.
other things, you just can't find a missile tube.
You know, you
I don't want to be this guy, but I could seek a missile tube.
You could.
the DM could also simply say there is none on planet or
Oh,
none
there
that
would
are.
be.
Right,
This
that's why I
is still
said.
Coruscant. There are missile tubes. You could seek one.
That's
Yeah.
why I said I don't want to say that. But
You
if
can.
if we really want one of these things, I can find one.
They're probably in the hands of the Republic is the problem.
Right. Look, I'm
Most
not
of
gonna.
them are. There are a few that are on the black market, which
Yeah.
means they're even more expensive.
Right. Krat would not bring that up. I'm not gonna help you willingly incite more violence, but I'm just saying if you want to just spend some time and find this thing, we can.
Yeah, no, it's fine. My only thinking was like ground to air combat in case I needed to take out a ship, but
Oh,
you know
don't
what?
worry about that. I'd crash a ship into the ground.
I will also note you could ask Dante to try to pick one up on the way home.
I can't even. Oh yeah, hey Dad, while you're out, can you pick up a missile?
Pretty much. You never
Dad
know.
ran
I
off
might
to
be able
get
to
milk.
find something.
Dante, make a streetwise check with 1 red and 2 purple.
I was gonna say negotiation check because I would ask my people if they have one.
Is the missile
It ain't
tunnel
gonna be
problem
negotiation.
Why not? I'm asking my people if they have one.
Yeah. And they're also involved in a war.
All right, streetwise, what's the purple?
1 red and 2 purple.
Okay, just for bullshittery's sake, I do want to spend a destiny point. However, I want to spend 2 destiny points because I can do that now.
Okay. This is also you guys. I gave you 270 XP, and now you're still asking for more. Fuck y'all.
I wanted one more thing. That's all I wanted.
Huh?
Was one more thing, and XP can't get me this one
Literally,
thing.
mister, I bought the entirety of the fucking Vanguard tree.
Actually, I did.
Fuck!
I did not buy the entirety yet. Well, I probably will never be, but I did not buy the entire tree. I tried. I definitely tried. Did not have enough XP.
I flip one of the destiny points that I spent. God damn it.
There's so many. I just looked at how many destiny points Cedric has.
I flip one because I failed.
Yep.
Oof.
Yep, so you get one back.
I flip one back.
So what I'm seeing now.
I didn't use any of them this time.
That's fine.
Yeah, what I'm hearing now is straight up Cedric was not super okay with the missile tube, and now the dice are just like helping him out.
Yes.
Really?
Honest,
You
honestly, I
already
was-
have a fucking Gatling cannon, and you want a goddamn 6 ammo thermal detonator, essentially, is what you have?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not included in this. I offered my connections, they didn't work
I am
out.
not shooting at you. I am
that is-
pointing at the big droid and being like,
Wait-
are you sure?
Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. You could build one, Ned, can't you?
It's theoretically possible.
Ned is
Ned's too busy.
Ned's so fucking busy trying to make sure that the temple is up to snuff.
Yeah. This was literally just me shooting my shot. I didn't get it. All right, let's just move forward.
We'll try next session, Biggs. I have not given up on the missile launcher.
No, give up on the missile launcher.
Never.
I'm
Yep.
giving up on the missile launcher.
Yes, Geo, don't die on this mound. This is not going to happen.
Choose another adventure. Do not continue.
Yep.
Missile tube? I have one of those in my back pocket. Here you go.
That
Wow.
Krat, that is your lightsaber.
Oh,
And I will remind you, you did just touch it. So
my lightsaber? Hell no,
Yes.
I didn't. Hell no, I didn't. You know, I don't touch anything that's a weapon. If you ever get a gun near me and you're like, check this out, I examine it with the force touching. I would never touch it myself. You know that.
I would never sully my hands.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's
It's fine.
We're giving up on the missile tube, confirmed.
Yep.
All right.
Y'all
so-
rolled for it.
all of that being said, I do think that aside from just, inspecting the escape routes, trying to plant the seeds of suggestion into the council members to be like, hey, you should probably get some more masters. It'll increase our odds of success.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, do they actually has anybody actually told the council what we fully know?
Nope. I don't think we
Nope.
plan to.
Do we? Okay.
Nobody
No,
has
'cause
told the council.
Do we think
Well,
they
and
would believe us at all?
yeah,
Nope.
so that would be a conversation to be had. However, I don't think it would help. So let's just covertly and discreetly do what we're doing to ensure that the Jedi have the best chance of survival. That being said, actually, just because I know how this timeline goes, allegedly, Cedric, metagaming wise,
Mm-hmm.
I know from the timeline that I know for the Old Republic, Coruscant is sacked. The Jedi's go back to Tython and make their home base there.
Uh-huh.
Could I theoretically, instead of telling God, what's his face? Yeah. Instead of telling him to come back, instead I would like to tell him to be like, hey, just in case, how habitated or like how what's the Sith occupation like on Tython, if any?
Right now in this timeline, it's light. It wasn't nearly the same as it was for the other, because in your original timeline, you were again more focused on expanding into Sith territory, which left some of your properties like Tython a little less defended, so the Sith would swoop in and essentially try to take out the back door. But since Titus is creating more of a mid-rim blockade, Tython is not nearly as struggling as it was in your original timeline.
So if anything, I would
forces, but much less competitive.
because Titus is already like kind of questioning his purpose and like kind of trying to become more and more non-violent. I would also, just from a tactical standpoint, I would maybe ask him if he wants to send a very small detachment of the temple to Tython to establish some kind of maybe like a secure training ground for new Jedi.
You have a month. You can try to convince him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to have to roll for it, but I do want to at least put the idea in his head.
Yeah.
You know?
You can easily plant the idea in his head. You can't say for certain how effective it will be, but at least you got it in there.
And instead, I would contact me like a week later and be like, actually, my friend, scratch that. Don't come here. Stay there and just try and see if there's a secure building to maybe start a detachment.
Mm-hmm.
I heard rumor, blah blah blah. You know, just
he
all
would
the semantics.
get with you, kind of like go back and forth and be like, okay, we could use Echo as perhaps like a forward operating base, and then try to rebuild one of the old temples, maybe.
Easy.
Yeah.
So I would tell him to focus on that.
Yeah, we are coming up on time. It sounds like there's still a couple of things we need to do for Ned's to-do list. Unless we took care of most of that.
I mean, I don't really need to role play the convincing aspect. That's really what Ned's entire focus is making sure the temple's up to snuff, making sure everything has been checked, like functionality checked, make sure that the drill goes okay. Like he is basically just in administrative mode.
Okay.
So we don't need to worry about that.
It sounds like next time we get together, we're probably just going to do trying to get people on the council, and then the week after that will probably be the siege. So I am going to next week will probably be a really light one, and I'll just spend a good amount of time trying to make something that will challenge you guys for a last session. Because good gravy.
Get it out.
Cedric.
Yeah.
Do you want to handle my home planet stuff off session so it just goes a little bit quicker?
Yeah, we can do that. I think
Okay.
that'll be something we can do throughout the week, especially since you're going to be playing Fires of Rubicon and you'll have plenty of time to ruminate on what you're thinking.
Yeah, not a problem. I should be able to do something Sunday if you want to do it over voice. I don't know what I'm doing Monday currently.
Okay, Monday might be better. Sunday is a pretty busy day for me because I'm hanging out with Kate, and then I gotta jet back at some point because it's family night with my brother.
Yeah.
So
I would be able to do Monday morning, but that's a whole nother
Monday
thing.
morning I should be available.
All right, we can talk it over then. How much XP do we get for the session?
You guys are gonna have another 10 for this.
Sweet.
QQ.
All right, unless anybody has anything else to say, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.
I think
Sounds
we're
good to
good.
me.